Hi guys. My name is Sam, and I have been recently seeing in the news that a couple of guys or a few guys had used a computer program to solve the Zodiac C340 cipher. Um, as you may know, the Zodiac killer was a prolific serial killer in the San Francisco Bay Area and that whole region of California back in the late 60s and possibly early 70s. Um, he liked to send code messages through the post office through over to, and he would send them to let's see, I'm trying to adjust a few things here, and he would send them to the newspaper. Well, back in the day, um, they really thought that the code key was the Halloween card that he put in the mail. He sent it to the newspapers, and he had some messages on there. But what it reads is in the center it says "Paradise Slaves," misspelled, by fire, by gun, by knife, by rope. And then he had that silly little card. Now, there's a lot that I could go into. I could go into dates and things like that. But right now, for the purposes of this particular video, I'm not going to do that because I want to show how I believed that on December 17th of 2017, I actually began to solve this puzzle, this cipher. What I did is I watched a TV series on the Zodiac Killer, and it talked about this particular code right here. And what they basically said is that you have to look outside the box. And that really hit hard with me because for a few years I have been actually looking at this, trying to decode it, trying to figure out what this could possibly be. And I found something that was they found something that was very interesting, and it kind of hit home with me. So I kind of went along with it. They said there's a pattern here. It's one of the first patterns that I had ever seen in the code. And I have looked at this for many years, and I have many printouts, and I've played with it, and I've started up here and reading across like you would. But I got to thinking, since we're going to be thinking outside the box, there's got to be something a little bit different about this particular one. He always said that if you were able to solve this code, you would find his name. And to be perfectly honest with you, I believe I did. That is going to be further on into the findings. But what I want to do right now is I want to show you how I believe I figured it out, where I started, and what my thought process was in the beginning. Now, like I said, my first thoughts were on December 17th, 2017. Yes, I was at work. And it was quiet, so I had a moment. But one of the first things that I saw in the cipher, I looked all along, and I love to do puzzles. I love to do seek and finds. I like to do cryptic quotes. I like to see patterns in a lot of things. So I started looking at this and tried to find patterns. But I didn't really find a pattern. What I found was something very significant. I found two letters that were in the cipher multiple times, and they actually lined perfectly up with the Halloween card. And it's the word buy. You actually see this word in here 5 times. Buy is here. Buy here. You have buy here. You have buy right there. And let's see, where's the other one? Oh, buy, and there's buy. Oh, goodness, I'm getting lost on myself. Okay, so bye. And where's the other one? Right here. Okay. And I will tell you where I started first. I started down here in this area because it just, I don't know, it was just there. And what I was kind of thinking is I was kind of looking around to see if there was a word around here that would match up with the Halloween card. And I kind of looked and I said, well, you know, if you take this, let's see, you take, now this is very crude. I've never done a video before, as you can probably tell. If you take this and you turn that letter into a U, well, that looks like gun. Okay. Then I looked up here and I noticed there was a couple of letters here that were, you know, a little odd, but I was kind of trying to figure out what this squiggly thing was. And I looked down a little bit further and I saw R, P, and an E. Okay, well, that could be an E, maybe. It's a little funny. So I marked out the M. And I put an O. Rope. Okay. Well, to me, I was thinking, oh, that's a little coincidental. That's kind of interesting. What could possibly be next? So I looked over here, and I actually looked at this by, and I looked around to see if I could find anything, and I did. I found FR. Okay. We're just playing. Well, FR. Okay, well, let's just make that an E, just for fun. Okay. So I have fire. Now, y'all, by this time, my blood pressure is a little racy because I'm thinking, wait a minute, I have a pattern here. All of these words are in the Halloween letter or the card. And I'm thinking, you've got to be kidding me. This isn't happening, really. So the next buy I see, there's a K. And I'm like, look, we're just going to throw this in here, okay? So I did this. K, N, I, F. And just make this an E. Let's just make it an E. Because it just makes sense. Okay. Now my heart is going 90 to nothing. Now I'm running to my boss's office and showing him what I have done. Yes, I have a great boss. I'm almost in panic mode. And I'm thinking, you've got to be kidding me, because by gun, by rope, by knife, by fire is on the Halloween card. But I have never read anywhere where they said that he had killed anybody by fire. Now, and I could get the dates. I don't have them right here handy, but I do have it all written out in my notes. This is a very rough video. But I never saw anywhere where he actually killed anybody by fire. But I had read where there were two teenagers that were at the beach and they were found already murdered. They had already been killed. They were in like a shed, and the shed, or they had been caught on fire. Well, I had been looking at all this, and I see this word. Of course, I see Tony right here, but that's not what it is. It's actually the word not. And I figured that correlated with not by fire. But then here's a problem. He did kill somebody by a gun. He did kill somebody by a knife. What about this rope business? There's no word that he had ever killed anybody by rope. Now, he did tie someone up with a rope at Lake Variesse, I believe. So that turns in the word not. Now, for this other by. This one drove me crazy because I'm thinking, there's not a fifth by on the card. But he did make a threat that he was going to kill children with a bomb. So in my studies and everything that I've read, the FBI and people who have worked on this, they've always said something about the center line is very significant. And it's just the center of the cipher. It means something. You take this and you put it up here, and they want to stretch out the cipher that way. But that never made any sense to me. It just never did. So I started looking at this, and even though he has a lot of symbols, they're forwards, they're backwards, they're this and that. Look, this is a cipher. This is a crazy man. This man can do whatever he wants because it's a game to him. He can make up the game however he wants. This right here, the crypto quotes, the seek and finds, the go back and forth on those seek and finds and whatnot. You can go forwards, backwards, upside down, any different direction. And that's what I think that he did. I think that he used different types of puzzles that were printed in the newspaper and made up his own game, his own, obviously, his own cipher and his own patterns. So he could put his letters any way that he wanted to because this is how he was going to confuse everybody. And it actually has worked. But I started thinking out of the box. And what I saw here was B, M. Well, let's look at this. And I also did notice that he changed the second letter and the fourth letter to his words when need be. And he did it right there. So I saw this and I just went, you've got to be kidding me. That's the word bomb. And because they always said this sentence right here was so significant, and you're going to see this pop off the page when I show it to you. I looked at this and I saw the word die, D-I-E, die, backwards. Then I looked at these letters right here and I saw a T-R. I thought, well, that's the back end of a Y. Just put a tick mark on that and that's a try. And if you transpose these, that's the word to. You try to die by a bomb. That's not an O. That's a 0. Because he didn't do it. He just didn't. He didn't use a bomb. So the center sentence or the center line right here is you try not to die by a bomb. But there's something interesting about that is that he never used a bomb. He never exploded anything. He never, they say that he planted one at a park where some children were going to be. But they never found one. Well, right here, this is where I think you get into other words right here, is that this is going to be the word in. not by a bomb. And what I also found that was interesting is and then he starts getting into the fun stuff. You just like the playing with you, the words that are significant in his crimes that he did. I found this to be back, B-A, that was an A. And that's a K. Back to back, or you could do it like this, back to back or back to back. But back to back, he stabbed the kids at the lake back to back. Wow. Then I skipped around, and it took me a while to try to pull words out of here that made sense, that made any sense at all about what was going on, what his thoughts were. And so I really spent a lot more time on this. I had my son look at it. He kind of helped pick out some words and things that I just wasn't seeing. I did see a lot of things then. But I also found this, which I found just so disturbing. So disturbing. He put this in here. Fun. Fun. He took fun with a gun. I took fun by gun. Right here, I looked and I thought, okay, yes, he has these letters in here, but what else could they possibly be? Well, what was his main target? Teenagers. Teens. I took fun by gun. He shot 2 teenagers. 4 teenagers. Here in this area, I believe this is the word two. Like I said, I've got to get my notes out because it's been so long since I've messed with this. So he shot 2 teenagers, gun with fun. He killed with a knife, which I'll get into that later up there because the word kill is literally right by knife. All you have to do is mark this out right here. Well, kill. Find different words in here. This is the word if. I believe that this word is the word told. Told. If told, I took fun by gun, killing 2 teens. This right here is this is what I believe. I believe this is SFPD. He has this in here a couple of times. I am looking at my former notes that I used I concluded with my notes. SFPD. San Francisco Police Department. This is Zodiac. This right here is boy. Boy. This word, I believe right here is shot. Did I put something here? Boy. I don't have anything right here on these notes, on the notes that I'm looking at. So I'd have to go back and look. Yes. And this has been a long time since I've worked with this. So this is, like I said, this is a raw video. This is like a practice video for me. Just to get everything out here. But looky here. Here's the word game. There's the word game. I believe that this is a word here. L-I. It's little. I believe this is list. From the Mikado, he talked about a list from the Mikado. This is 2. One other thing that he did say a lot was fat pig. I think that was really supposed to be an I. Fat pig. He liked that. There's some other words in here that I think that this is stop. And then we start I kind of get into the other things. Here's woods. Here's woods. So what woods? And all of these words are significant because he did say that he was going to put a bomb out in the woods or things like that. He sent a letter about woods at like a campsite. When I have my notes written out, and this isn't, I've polished up my videos, I'll put that in there. I believe that this is SFPD equals 0 right here. And he wrote that in a letter. He did put in there SFPD. This is SFPD, San Francisco Police Department 0 Zodiac. There is the word baby. Let's see. The baby is in here. Because there was a statement by a woman who was, kidnapped, if you will. I'll have to find that because I do have it in here, and it does say baby, but I'll have to find it because this particular notes that I'm looking at, this is not correct. One moment. Let me find it. Baby's in here. Back to back. And I could be wrong. Well, I think when I was working on this, a lot of things did change. Here it is. I apologize. I have it right here. It starts here. That's an A. That's baby. Because remember, in the movie, they talked about it, and they do believe that he, and this is how they got a drawing of him, that he picked up a woman by pulling her over and telling her that her lug nuts or her tires were wobbly, and he actually loosened the lug nuts, and later on down the road, she had to pull over, and he was going to give her a ride to a gas station to get help, but then he told her on down the road that he was going to kill her and her baby. So I believe that baby is significant because it's just another word and another clue to say that this is actually legitimate because he did capture a woman and her baby. I believe that this word is crimes. I think that's an E. Crimes. That's an E. Or crime. I think that this is actually the. And there's a reason for that too. Because I believe that this is the word catch. I think that that's supposed to be a C right there. And I believe what he did is he just inverted letters. He turned them around. He turned them upside down, made them to look like something else. But I believe that that's supposed to be catch. This right here is map. And that word is actually very significant as well. He did leave a map for the bomb. A lot of people say that this is a sentence, and then it says here something something. I don't think that is that's a sentence. The whole thing is not a sentence. This right here, I believe I have it as murder. And a lot of these letters have changed. But also notice that he has a zodiac sign right in the middle of the letter murder. Well, let's see here. And that's supposed to be you. I could be wrong on this, but I don't think that I am. And then there's a reason why. If you look here, this is the letter U. This is where I think we get into names with this. He actually starts to name names. And yes, his name is in this cipher. It is in here. It is in here twice. I found it in one way, the way that I did it this way. It is also in here a way that a detective have found it. But I think that we're going to start getting into some things that are pretty interesting. So let me just show you this. There were two gentlemen in this whole entire this crime spree that the Zodiac went on over the years. There was a gentleman by the name of Paul Avery, and there was a gentleman by the name of Paul Stein. Paul Stein was a cab driver. Paul Stein was shot while he was in his car. Some girls that were upstairs across the street, they saw this occur. And they called the police, and the police came out, and they found out that the cab driver was a gentleman by the name of Paul. I believe this is the name of Paul Stein. There's also another Paul that is relevant in this story. And that would be Paul Avery. And I believe his name is right here. Paul. I believe this is Paul Avery. And this symbol is actually very significant. Very significant. I believe that this symbol is significant. I believe the zodiac sign that he had in here is significant. I believe this was significant. And then I also have some other things in here. Now, Paul Avery was terrified that he was going to be killed by the Zodiac. He went around and had buttons, or the Zodiac wanted to have buttons printed out to have his name on that to show support. Well, Paul Avery created a button that said, I'm not Paul Avery. Well, Paul Avery and the Zodiac Killer, when you find out in this of who the name is, they actually had a history together, very significant history. I will go into that later because it's not actually relevant right now. But you could also go and look at a couple of things. I believe that if you change this letter, and I could be wrong, I this could also be Paul, but I think there's another pattern that goes here, and there's a reason for it. I think this is the word don't kill Paul. Paul and Paul connect. I think the reason why he put that in there is because he had no intention of killing Paul Avery. Paul Avery was not his mark. Paul Avery was just the kind of the guy he was messing with in the newspaper and other people as well. I think this word right here is David. Excuse me. I apologize. I think this word is day. I'm getting ahead of myself. Day. I believe that this is, well, I didn't mean to mark that out. David. David was also one of his victims that survived. Now, a lot of this is becoming more and more, it's kind of coming together. There was also a question about boot prints. They found boot prints. I think they were military boots. And I believe that this letter is boots or boot. So that's something that's fairly significant in all of this. I believe that this word right here is bury, because he was going to bury a bomb, or he spoke about it. I think that's going to be the word bury, because he talked about burying a bomb. So I think that intersected. Then we kind of start getting into, you know, I have to start showing different different words. I have in my notes. Yeah, that's okay. Then I also have in my notes here that I found the word doubt. D-O-U. Was that right? Doubts. Yep. Doubt. Some of these I could be wrong, but I don't think I am. Now we get into something that's even more interesting, because now the puzzle is kind of coming together and words are developing. And now that we have all of these other words, and the Zodiac always said, you know, if you figure out the cipher, you could find my name, which I think is true. I think that this is the letter E. That's the letter A. That's the letter R. And of course it goes down to L. Earl. Earl. There are a list of suspects that are out there. This gentleman is on one of the top of the lists. There has been a show done about him. I believe that's his middle name, Van. It's almost like he's not really even hiding it. But I believe that this is best. And now, y'all, I will tell you, I did not know who a lot of the suspects were. I didn't. I did go online and try to look up suspects. While I was finding all these letters and these words and these things in here, I was looking for a name, but I was not necessarily, this was not something that I thought, hey, wait a minute, I know that this guy's a suspect, so I'm going to hunt him down and see if it fits. No. I did all of this and then went and looked online to see, hey, what's going on? Who are some of the suspects? Because he said his name is in here. And when I came across this, because it only makes sense. And if he's going to make this, that's not a Z, that's an N turned. Well, that's best. And then once you figure out all of this right here, I think that if you take and you do, let's see. I'm trying to find it. Let's see. If you take this and you turn this into a U, June, your. And this, because this is a free letter, we're not using this. That turns into an I. So if you mark all this out right here. June, your. That's your killer. Earl Van Best Jr. You try to die by a bomb, gun, rope, fire, knife. Those are the key elements. Paul Stine, he was murdered. No, he did not put everybody's names in there. And strangely enough, he didn't put the females' names that I could find. Now, I do have a question, and I'm a little apprehensive about this, of my findings. I had gone to a friend's wedding down in Florida, and the Zodiac show was on, or a show about the Zodiac was on. And it was also talking about, I believe it was the, what was that killer? The Golden Gate Killer. And the Golden Gate Killer had talked about, or he had done some crimes in Stockton, and they were wondering if it was Zodiac. This is always, I've struggled with this because I found this word in here, and I only kind of highlighted it because I lived in California for a little bit. I don't know if this is really in there. But I believe that this word right here is Stockton. It doesn't really have any significance as far as this case is concerned. Now, when I did look up, I was talking about the baby, you know, the woman with the baby. Now, she was close to Stockton, but I don't know if this is really Stockton. I believe that it is, and I have put that in my other solutions, but I do believe that that is Stockton. I don't know what the significance of it is because there has never been a link between the Zodiac Killer and Stockton, but I could be completely wrong. He might have something in there that we just don't know about, we have not found, something like that. But I believe that it is in there. But this is my solution. I did meet a gentleman. I don't know if I could say it on this, but I will, because he's actually done, I've met him. I've read his book. When I was doing my research to find out who the suspect was, I did find Gary L. Stewart. And his story is just unbelievable. And he knows and believes also that his biological father, and I would encourage you to read his book, The Most Dangerous Animal of All, says that his father, Earl Van Best Jr., his biological father, Earl Van Best Jr., was the Zodiac Killer. Now, I could do another one of these, and I already have it written out or shown, where you see these things. This is it right here. I have to move this a little bit. Okay. What I did is I took out of the book, because it's in there. If you look at the cipher without all my gobbledygook on there, you can actually see, and when it's not solved the way that I've solved it, you can clearly see these things, and they remain. I believe that they do remain, but you can see EAR. Let's see. Well, it should be L. I think that some of this is wrong. I messed it up. But it does, and you can read it in the book. It does say Earl Van Best Jr. Very clear. You can also see where Gary's mother is actually Judy. But here you can see where I've solved it. And I've cleaned this up. This is all done on a computer. Earl Van Best Jr. So that is my solution. It has been turned over to FBI. It has been turned over to the San Francisco Police Department. It has been turned over to the University of Southern California. And now I've done a video of it. And hopefully this makes sense to y'all, because it makes clear sense to me. And unfortunately, the families have not gotten justice for their family members who are victims of the Zodiac Killer. Personally, I believe that there's a lot of politics involved as to why he has not been found or he has not been revealed. In every other cipher, it does not show that his name. I know that the videos or the solution that came up to the FBI, that the FBI has corroborated and said, yes, this is in fact a true solution. What the guys did on the computers. Personally, I don't believe it, but I'm not going to discredit their work, because they did just as much hard work as I did. I think this is a simpler solution because of just how things were done back in the day. We didn't have computers back then to generate these codes. We just had a guy sitting around messing with puzzles and messing with people's heads and messing with people's families and lives. But it all has been turned over. I have gotten a response from one detective, and he was the one who encouraged me to send it to all of these agencies. So he has it as well. I have sent it to multiple Zodiac websites and Facebook pages and things like that for people to see. And this is my solution. I hope it makes sense to you, because when I see it, it all jumps off the page. And I just pray for y'all that it jumps off the page for you too. Thank you so much for your time, patience, and understanding that I am a complete newbie at any type of video. I have never made a video in my life other than videotaping my puppy dogs. So anyway, thank you so much. God bless. And just be safe out there, guys.